This is a vintage Tamiya radio control car, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you more ways in which you can modernise something like this. Let's get to it. This is the second of a three-part series where I've been looking at this, a vintage Tamiya Monster Beetle that's wearing a Blackfoot shell, and the things that I'm doing to it to bringing it up to a modern radio control car standard. In part one, I changed the tyres to something newer and supple, but of the original design for the Monster Beetle, and I also fitted a full bull race kit and showed you it working using its existing radio gear. For this part though, we're going to be fitting some new electronics, a new battery and a new motor. Here's everything I bought for this second part of the video series. Firstly, a new radio set from Carson. I bought this from Time Tunnel Models. Be interesting to see how this is. I haven't used one of these modern radio kits before. Then we've got a Torque Tuned motor, Tamiya, bought that from Jadlam, put links in the description below. This then is a Tamiya speed controller, a TB LE02S. And then lastly, I'm upgrading from this original NiCad pack that is presumably as old as the buggy, or the Monster Beetle, to a nickel metal hydride pack, just 2000 milliamp hours, so not a great capacity, but no doubt a definite improvement on this. So all of these things are going to get fitted into this, and then we're going to take it for a run and see how much better it is. So before we get started with the deconstruction, let's do just a quick unboxing of this. The Carson reflex wheel start system. It says it's Tamiya kit compatible down at the bottom. Now, according to Time Tunnel, where I bought this, the UK editions come with a servo in them. I have opened it, so I know it's in there. So as well as the transmitter and receiver, you also get a servo. Let's have a quick CS3 servo, so that'll be great to have. And then when it arrived, I thought, gosh, it's really small. If you look at it compared to the size of a traditional transmitter, if like me, you've only ever known vintage stuff, this is really, really tiny. I was amazed it fitted in this box. The receiver, which is absolutely minuscule, is here. Again, for those of you who know this kit, you'll be like, what's he talking about? But my only experience is vintage stuff like the Monster Beetle, so to have something this small is amazing. And then out it comes in two parts. So with those two bits out of the box, they would normally go together, but what I just want to show you is where the batteries go. So that's in the trigger part, the handle part. Batteries in there, and then pop that back on, and then just clip it all together like this. There we go. Lovely and small and compact. Really nice. So $39.95 if I recall correctly. I'll put the price below, but a great little unit for upgrading your vintage Tamiya. In order to put this new radio gear in, and also because we're going with a new speed controller, I'm going to be removing this servo for the mechanical speed controller, the speed controller itself, the resistor, the receiver, and then taking its place will be our electronic speed controller, and then we'll come to the motor and the battery a bit later. So all of this stuff needs to come out, and with it, a reasonable amount of weight gets removed. That's our mechanical speed controller removed. Just now going to remove the on-off switch. Got a new one on the electronic speed controller to use. And now just going to remove the mechanical speed controller servo. So every vintage Tamiya car is going to be different, of course, but if you're working on Monster Beetle or Blackfoot, in order to get to these servo screws down here, this strut support up here needs to come off. So I've just removed those dampers, and then this piece now needs to come away in order to gain access to those screws that are behind it. So with that now removed, we can access these screws down here. So let's do that. Doesn't feel like these leads have been removed from this receiver for a very, very long time. They're very sticky. There we go. That's our two servos from the front out. Kind of original 80s, late 80s ACOMS AS7. I don't need this servo horn, but I do need to save this one to put on the new servo. So let's get that off. There we go, that's now off. And final piece is just to remove this receiver, which I think is stuck down. There we go. Again, ACOMS 80s AR227FE. Let's just run through then what we've removed and how much it weighs. A servo or two servos. Got the on-off switch, got the mechanical speed controller, and then we've got the receiver. So 188 grams of things that we have removed, or I have removed. Let's just weigh in the new stuff. New Carson miniature receiver, 6 grams. That feels nice and solid actually, that one. 48 grams we're up to now. Electronic speed controller. And we're at 99 grams. So we're saving, it's about half, isn't it? Just over half of the weight, 188 to 99 grams, which is quite interesting. I'm sure it won't make a single bit of difference to the performance, but it's interesting to see nonetheless. And there we go, front end back together. So I've taken the opportunity to make the speed controller back here, and I'm going to take advantage of the fact that this transmitter is so small that I can pretty much mount it anywhere. And I'm going to go with, I'm going to put it on here. I need to find some sticky tape to tape it in. But if I just pop that in there, like that. And then if I stick that down, so pop that in there, and I need to do this switch, which I reused the screws from the previous switch to do. So that's all the radio gear and the electronic speed controller in. Now all that's left is to change this old silver can motor with these slightly dodgy connectors on them. Let's get that torque tuned motor installed. As our old motor out, then just need to whip this pinion off, take this facing off and add it onto the new motor. Very nice. There we go. £13, £14 I think that cost me. Hopefully make a worthy upgrade. So that's the new motor in, but as you may be able to see, there's this lead here is interfering with the tyre, as is well that one. So we need to finesse these a little bit, just to sort of squeeze them out of the way. It's a shame really that they've not thought that through, but just tweak them out of the way. And then it's just a case of connecting them up to the speed controller. And there we go. This orange lead, of course, not required because this is a brushed motor, and that orange lead is for the brushless system. So there we go. That is the next step of modernisation on this, my vintage Tamiya Monster Beetle. So just as a reminder, torque tuned motor, Tamiya electronic speed controller, new Carson radio gear, and about 90 grams of weight saved. So Batteries in, that's that new Overlander 2000 milliamp hour unit. I've programmed the speed controller off camera. Let's just turn it on. Let's turn that on. And we've got steering. And we've got... So a quick reverse of the throttle action, and I think we're good to go. There we go, going forwards. And backwards. And we've still got that brake works nice, isn't it? It feels on the bench at least a lot more responsive than that mechanical speed controller, which if you've watched part one was sticking and was proving to be a little bit awkward. So body shell on, trip up the road. Hard to do this one-handed. Need to learn these skills. Don't know how these YouTubers do it. But yes, feels comfortably quicker. Whoop, oh dear. Tumble wumble, as they say. Oh, definitely didn't do that before. Let's try that again. Oh! Great fun. Well, I think we can conclude that I'm not a particularly good driver when I'm holding a camera trying to film, but I think what is clear from that footage is that it's quicker, and this radio gear feels really nice, lovely and small and light, and that seems very responsive. And the electronic speed controller, again, working properly once I did the servo reverse thing, or not servo reverse thing. So, thank you as always for watching. This is the end of part 2. Coming up in the final part, part 3, I'm going to be removing this body shell because that's for a Blackfoot and this is clearly a Monster Beetle, and I'm going to be taking that away and selling it, I suspect, and I'm going to be fitting a Monster Beetle replica body shell. I'm going Lexan, I think, to make it a little bit more robust. And that will involve replacing these body posts and finessing all these fine little things and getting this lovely and clean, ready for its next life in just being a really entertaining, fun model. As I mentioned, thank you ever so much for watching. If you like this content, do let me know. Do send me a comment. And if you like this kind of content generally, then please do consider subscribing. It really helps the channel. And I wish you all a very pleasant rest of the day. Thanks and goodbye.